strong breaking updates at the top of this bulletin. Teesta Setalvad has moved Supreme Court, remember, with a petition against the dismissal of a bail plea by the Gujarat High Court. This hearing is underway in the Supreme Court. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta is appearing for the Gujarat government. He has said that even if there was time provided for Teesta Setalvad to approach the court, that would not wipe away the crime. SG Tushar Mehta argued, I have gone through the record of this accused. In many cases, it is a 127-page order. So the SG arguing on behalf of the Gujarat government, basically against any relief to be given to Teesta Setalvad. Let me go across to my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar, who's tracking the hearing for us. Ananya, tell us the latest.
Well, Shivani, as the hearing has just now ended a short while ago, and the Supreme Court has, in fact, the two judges bench of the Supreme Court presided over by Justice A.S. Oak and, in fact, and the other judge has, in fact, placed the matter before, in fact, a larger bench and has refused to grant any kind of interim protection to Teesta Setalvad at this point of time. However, just in a kind of a small relief, or it has been said that the matter will be placed before the Chief Justice of India and he can decide as to whether he wants to constitute a larger bench, that is a three-judges bench today itself, or will the matter be heard tomorrow or day after when the Supreme Court would actually reopen. So definitely this is a big blow coming into Teesta Setalvad, the second one in the day. First one by the Gujarat High Court dismissing her bail plea and giving out a 127-page detailed order.
Ananya, does this mean that in the meantime she can be arrested or she will have to surrender to the Gujarat police as the Gujarat High Court ordered?
Well, definitely, since both the Supreme Court and the Gujarat High Court have, in fact, not granted her any kind of relief, she will immediately have to surrender before, in fact, the Gujarat police, and if at all she does not do so, she would be arrested in this particular case. But at this point of time, whether or not a larger bench would be constituted by the Supreme Court, whether the Chief Justice of India would on an emergency basis constitute a three-judges bench, that is a matter of time. We'll have to wait for that. But at this point of time, Teesta Setalvad has no, in fact, a relief. It is a shot in the arm for the Gujarat government at this point of time. But whether or not the matter is heard by a three-judges bench today itself we'll get to know in a short while from now.
Okay, so you're suggesting that this request to the Chief Justice to constitute a larger bench and to place before the CJI this request for constituting a bench that the court has talked about, this can be done immediately, like this can happen this evening itself?
Well, the court agreeing to the request of the senior advocate appearing for Teesta Setalvad had placed in its order that the bench should be constituted earlier. But we have to remember the Chief Justice of India is the master of the roster and the topmost judge of the country. He can only be requested for the same. If at all he wants to do it, if at all he wants to constitute a bench today itself or not, if at all he wants that a bench be constituted tomorrow, that's completely his own discretion, and we'll have to wait from the CJI's office to hear from the CJI's office whether or not a bench will be constituted today itself or the matter will be heard tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
So what I want to understand from you, Ananya, is what is the basis for the request for the larger bench? If the two-judge bench has heard this matter, this plea by Teesta Setalvad, and have also given their order with no interim protection for her, then where does the request for a larger bench come from?
Well, Shivani, both of the judges were not agreeing at the same point. So since there was no agreement between the two judges, and hence, in fact, both of these judges suggested that the matter should go before, in fact, it's a larger bench. And that's the reason, since there was a disagreement between the bench, the matter has to go before a larger bench of three judges.
Right. Can you, Ananya, also take us through the arguments that the Gujarat government made opposing Teesta Setalvad's plea?
Well, definitely. Gujarat government was led by, in fact, the Solicitor General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, who clearly argued that, Teesta Setalvad is not someone who should, in fact, be granted bail. She has a record with regards to, it was the Supreme Court itself, and it was the Supreme Court's special investigation team which had suggested that, Teesta Setalvad had entered a criminal conspiracy where, in fact, it was said that clearly that she was the one who had hatched this criminal conspiracy of fabricating evidence and witnesses in the Gujarat Riots cases, and to frame the top officials of the Gujarat government, including the then Chief Minister and now Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So definitely this was the clear argument of the state of Gujarat that, such a person of such a stature who had been conspiring against the government, who had been conspiring against the then Chief Minister since 2002, and it was all under the veil until the Supreme Court passed its order in the year of 2022. All of this suggests that she is not somebody who should be granted a relief, who should be granted an interim protection in this case, and that's the reason why, in fact, Mr. Tushar Mehta also argued that this is the clear reason why, in fact, the Gujarat High Court too did not grant her any kind of a relief in this particular case.
Okay. I just want to come back to the top update that we've received from the court, Ananya, which is that there's no interim relief from the Supreme Court two-judge bench, but there has been a request placed to the CJI to constitute a larger bench to look into this issue. How soon that's going to happen is now the matter of contention. Just for the benefit of our viewers, Ananya, I believe the vacation for the courts ends tomorrow, right? Tomorrow being Sunday, and July 3rd is when the courts are supposed to reconvene post-vacation. So I'm guessing this must have been the vacation bench that heard this case today. And how quickly in such circumstances, today being Saturday evening and tomorrow being Sunday, can the CJI constitute a larger bench?
Well, that's completely the discretion of the Chief Justice of India. He can constitute a bench today itself. He can constitute a bench tomorrow if urgent hearing is required and he feels the matter is so sensitive in nature. And in fact, the matter can be reheard when the Supreme Court actually reopens on Monday. So it is completely on the Chief Justice of India. It's his own discretion. He's the master of the roster. And he can, since he's the topmost judge in the country, he can decide to hear the matter whenever he feels that there is a gravity in the matter, or there is some seriousness in the matter. He can actually hear the matter today itself, but we'll have to wait for that. We'll have to wait for the word from the Chief Justice's office or some kind of a notification coming in from the registry with regards to a constitution of a CJI bench. So we'll have to wait and watch for that. But at this point of time, Teesta Setalvad has been without any relief, without any shield at this point of time, and the Gujarat government getting a shot in the arm yet again. And clearly, no relief for Teesta Setalvad. She'll have to surrender ASAP.
All right, Ananya, we'll leave it at that. I do thank you for joining us with all those updates.